What is up everyone, SoftColors here, and today I'll be talking about how I spent $17,000 to make a visual novel. Have you ever watched an anime and wished you could make your own? You start writing a story and designing characters, hoping to realize your ideas one day. Unfortunately, anime can cost millions of dollars to produce, and most countries don't even make it. So unless you're from Japan, you're probably out of luck. But, what if I told you there's still a way to bring your anime-inspired ideas to life? That, my friends, is where it all began. For those who want to make a game but lack the experience, visual novels can be a great option. They don't require much knowledge in programming, and there are plenty of tutorials. I used the free software Ren'Py to create my visual novel Aquadine, which is available now on Steam and itch. Please help me out, guys. Okay, so, every visual novel needs writing, art, and music. My main skill is scriptwriting, which meant I still needed artists and composers. I spent weeks going through DeviantArt and Lemmasoft to find the right people for my team. I found the background artists first, so I compared potential character artists' styles with the backgrounds to see which styles would blend best together. Aquadine has a lot of character sprites, CGs, and backgrounds, which meant I needed them to get started right away. I also hired an artist for the UI since I figured they'd probably be more experienced with Ren'Py. That way, if I ever needed any help with the software, they'd be there for me. Next was the music. This was going to be harder since I didn't know where to find composers, but I had one connection. Before I even started this project, a friend of mine told me they knew someone who already made a visual novel, and they were Skylight Studios. After doing some research, I learned that they specialized in making music and offered great prices. On top of that, they also had plenty of connections to English voice actors, so after that I was pretty much sold. Speaking of voice actors, I got to work with plenty of talented people, like Amanda Lee, Jonah Scott, and many more. I would have liked to get Aquadine fully voiced, but I chose partial voice acting for two reasons: cost and my script. At the time, this was still early development, so my script was nowhere near being done, but I knew it was going to be a really long story. Voice actors may charge per line or per hour, but either way, it was going to be really expensive if I chose full voice acting. Also, if I had to edit the script later, I would need the voice actors to re-record their lines. By choosing partial voice acting, that allowed me to reuse lines throughout the visual novel at an affordable cost. I reread my script multiple times to figure out which key words and phrases would be needed to make this work. Doing it this way saved me a lot of stress, time, and money. Whenever I wasn't busy communicating with my team or working at my day job, I was writing the story alone. It took me a really long time to brainstorm ideas, plan every scenario, write the entire story, and edit everything by myself because Aquadine is such a unique world. So much of the story revolved around the setting. There were also a lot of characters, so I had to figure out how to make them all interesting and how they would all be connected. Thankfully, I had some friends to read my early scripts so I could get their feedback. It was really important for me to always be ahead of my team when it came to progress, because if they caught up with my commissions, I wouldn't know what to request next. With the way I directed Aquadine, everything revolved around the story. Me falling behind with the script would delay our entire development. At this point, our final demo was coming together, so we were preparing to promote our first anime convention, MomoCon 2019. I hired my first artist back in early 2016, so it took us 4 years to get to this point. But I wanted more. I wanted my very own theme song for Aquadine. This was my first big project I funded completely out of pocket, and it's about to make its debut. I wanted Aquadine to be as special as possible, so I pulled out all the stops. I hired another composer, a singer, a lyricist, and a video editor to put this all together. I even had my artists create new character art for this, and it is now currently my most viewed video on my YouTube channel. Our demo was officially done, and we made it just in time for MomoCon. I uploaded the demo and opening theme to our social media as well, and that's when our following really took off. Aquadine is our first game, and we're now almost at 1,000 followers on Twitter. My team was comprised of people I've never met before from around the world, so when it came to conventions, it was mostly just me and my friends. We promoted at 4 different anime conventions before the lockdown in 2020, and from there, my team continued development until its release in February 2021 on Steam and itch. It took us 6 years to complete development. Nearly $13,000 was invested in art alone, and roughly $4,000 was invested in music, voice acting, and other costs. And this doesn't even take into account all the work I put in as a writer-director. I'm really grateful we were able to launch such a high-quality visual novel that did very well critically on review sites and visual novel database. There are literally like 9s everywhere. I'm still nowhere near making back what I invested, so I'd appreciate any support. If you'd like to help me, please consider subscribing and checking out Aquadine. Playing, reviewing, and sharing Aquadine would mean a lot to me. Thanks, and I'll see you guys next time.